Hello there. Thanks for coming. Let's see who's in the chat right now. See who was first. Cosma, you've been first in a lot of streams. Welcome. See who else is here. Lexica, hello. Welcome, Lexica. Lady Natbug, Keith. Got a couple new people. Yoon, a couple other names I recognize. Felix, Educational Moose says, I feel like it should be the main menu music for a game. Well, it's the main menu music for this live stream. Maybe we should make a game called Wait for Billy to Start His Live Stream. And the high score is how long you wait before you give up and click on a different video. Could try it. I don't know. At least it would have nice music while you're waiting. Yes, welcome. We'll get started with the lesson portion of this live stream at the top of the hour. But this is the portion where we just kind of, I don't know. It started out as the part where I would make sure all the stream stuff is working, because I used to have a ton of technical issues when I first started because I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but it's less than before. I mean, I know little less, you know what I mean. But now's the time when, if you have any Korean questions in general that aren't related to the lesson, or questions about Korea, food, travel, culture, current events, anything you want to know, now's the time to ask. I'm all ears. 내가 다 귀야. Don't say that. It does not mean I'm all ears. Welcome. Darinka, welcome. Fillmore, welcome. Fillmore. You know what I think of Fillmore is, there was a game for Super Nintendo when I was a kid called ActRaiser, and the first town that you had to take care of was called Fillmore. So I always remember going into Fillmore. And that's all I know about Fillmore. I'm not sure if it's a person's name. I just assumed that you were the town from ActRaiser. Podcast Oteo asks Wes. Coming up. Wes, check out my Patreon page. I posted an update just a few days ago, which is the third update about the progress of the podcast. If you're one of my Patreon members, you can also watch. There's like a full video. If you're not, there's still a little post about it. And coming up this month, it's only been like 13. It's been 13 years as of, I guess from next month, it'll be 13, because I started in like November of 2012. So yeah, this will be my 13th year. Lucky number 13. 한국에서의 데이팅은 유럽이랑 어떻게 다르다고 생각해요? So you're asking what is different between your difference with dating for Korea and Europe. I've never been to Europe, so I don't know. I don't know how dating is in Europe, so I can't compare. I mean, I can tell how it's different in the US, but I don't know how it is in Europe. Although I really don't know how much it is different. I didn't do too much dating culture in Korea. I've heard a lot, though, from other people, so I could compare US and Korea, but I definitely can't compare US and Europe. Oh, Mikey! Mikey, you are first. I'm going to make your name extra big. It's just going to take up, it takes up just as much space as the My Sponsors text does. Mikey says, howdy, first on the board. That's true, Mike. Your name's going to be on top, really big. Everyone else who donates from now on in the stream, I'm going to write it like so tiny you can't even read it. Mikey's just going to like tower over everyone. I don't know. I'll probably still write everyone's name that big. Depends how many donations we get. Lexica says, question, is there a difference between 다음 주 주말에 and 다음 주말에? Yes. If you're trying to say next weekend, you say 다음 주 주말. If you say 다음 주말, you're saying the next weekend. So you could say the next weekend, like in reference to a weekend. Well, not this weekend, but in 3 weeks from now, we're doing this. And then the next weekend, we're doing this. Like, you could say it, but just like in English, you wouldn't say the next weekend. You would say next weekend. If you mean like next week's weekend, then you would use it. 다음 주 주말. Just like you would say, 이번 주 주말, or 이번 주말 would be like this weekend, like the one that's coming up right now. It's a bit confusing because you can use both of them, but yeah, you would use 다음 주 주말 though for if you're talking about like next weekend. Just to be clear. And Fillmore is now asking about, so Korean dating culture. What would you like to know about Korean dating culture? The thing is, there are cultural norms in Korea for dating that you will never experience because you're not a Korean. You have different expectations. And typically, if you're let's just say you're a foreigner, you're from Europe or you're from US or wherever. Typically, if you're dating a Korean, they're going to be conforming to you, like your culture. That's usually what it goes, how it goes. So they're going to be speaking to you in English. No, there are exceptions where you date someone who doesn't want to speak your language. They just want to speak in Korean. The norm, though, is not. The norm is that it's whatever language you start dating is irregardless, you're going to end up just using your language, English or whatever. The reason is because Koreans typically will speak English better than you speak Korean since they've been learning it their whole lives. So that's usually how it goes. Again, there's exceptions. Like I would say the biggest exception is when it's someone who meets someone in Korea and marries in Korea and lives in Korea, where you get to experience the whole, like everything, how it goes with that. Otherwise, the dating culture as a foreigner in Korea is going to be pretty much the same as what you get in the US with some exceptions. I know that they do have, gosh, I have one of my friends who is doing lots of dating and could probably talk about this a lot. But if there's something specific you want to know, I can tell you about it. But just in general, is it more conservative? Yeah, it is. But you're not really going to have to experience that unless you're one of the group that's like the full Korean experience, right? If you're just going to Korea and you meet a girl or a guy and you're dating, you're not going to get the Korean dating experience. It's going to be just you're dating a Korean person and you're in Korea. And then you're speaking in English, doing things that you would do in your home country anyway, like the same types of dates you would do in your home country. It's going to be more about them experiencing your culture than you experiencing their culture for the most part. Better to say the next person gets a bigger name. I think you're right, Mikey. I think you're right. I made a mistake there. The next person who donates will not have to look up in fear and cower at Mikey's grand name, but you will make him rue the day he was born. We're going to put your name so big that you won't be able to read Mikey because the camera won't even focus on it. It'll think Mikey is like a smudge on the lens with how big your name will be. So 다음 주말 would be like the following weekend. Yeah. And there are other ways to say that type of expression too, but yes. Do Koreans learn English during school? Yes, Koreans learn English from birth, pretty much. English is taught at preschools, but definitely it's taught through kindergarten. They have to learn it all through elementary school. They have to take tests to get into high school as well, and that includes English. They have to take English tests to get into the college that they want, and they have to perform really well. English is seen as like being good at just a skill. It's like, oh, wow, you got a good English score. Awesome, man. It's just a default class everyone has to take, like with English, math. I think what's the other one? Oh yeah, Korean. That's why I couldn't think of it. They do Korean class as well, which is not like what we're learning with grammar and stuff. They'll do, you'll study like classics and stuff like that. But they also have a Korean class, and then English class is one of the major ones. So they have to learn English for a test, whether they can speak it or not. They have to still, they've been exposed to it from birth. So I like to say that it doesn't, this doesn't mean Koreans are all good at English. In fact, I'd say the majority are not very good at it beyond like really basic expressions, but they all have to learn it. So it's like they're a sleeping second language. It's their second language that they might or might not choose to work on to get better. And then the people who speak it really well, those are the ones who've gone out of their way and actually practiced it and put time into it, doing lots of listening practice and making friends and using it. But it's like, what's the word? Something sleeping, dormant. Yeah. It's a dormant bilingual. They're bilingual, but it's dormant. It's not doing anything until they actually exercise it or exercise it out of them if they hate English. Do K-drama correctly portray Korean men when it Sorry, I'm laughing, not at you. I'm laughing at the question. No, they did. No, it does not. I guess to help it really drive my point down, do like Avengers movies correctly portray the average man? Like, oh, you just took off your shirt. You have like a 12-pack? Okay. Oh, I just like to save people. It's, what I do. Jump on a grenade. It's who I was born as. No. If you want, Korean variety shows, I think, are going to give you a better, not even variety shows. Let's think. No. I'm thinking of, is there any media that shows you what people are actually going to be like? No. Not that I can think of. Variety shows are going to be more accurate, though. If you have to make a comparison, like a variety show or a reality show will be more like what the person is actually going to be, because they wouldn't be scripted usually. They'll have a guide for what they want to do, like you do this and then they do this, but it's still like an outline, but it's not going to be like scripted, like you have to say these exact words for most programs. So I think that's going to be a better look into how people are dating, but not a movie. No, Korean guys are like American guys, like any guy. They're just guys. They're not like and they're also not a monolith. They're not all the same. They're all unique. So there are quiet and shy guys. There are like, ones that act really loud and stuff, but they're actually like calm and shy on the inside. There's everything in between. Scarlett asks, are there any songs to remember Korean words better? The only song, like there's an alphabet song, but that's not really helpful because most people already know the alphabet and there's no real need to know it in order until you get to in the intermediate level and you start needing to look up words in a Korean dictionary. Let me think. Yeah, no, not that I can really think of. Yeah, the only thing I can think of is the alphabet song. And there are a couple versions of that as well I've heard too. But yeah, pretty much. It's just to memorize the order of the letters. Wes is asking, is like 도 되다 and 면 안 되다 used commonly heard? Yes, very common. Like daily. Lexica says, another question. How do you say yarn? As if this, you're talking about, okay, the cotton, like the fabric, right? 실. 실 would be thread. I don't know if that's, actually, I've never done knitting. So, 바느질 would be like the sewing. And 실 would be used for any sort of thread. It could be like thick or thin thread. My guess is you would call it 실 as well. I mean, technically it is a thread. It is a 실 as well. But I don't know the one that you would refer to for that specific type of yarn. Like 뜨개질 is, I believe, what they call for like this. I don't know what it is because I've never learned. I think this is 뜨개질, but it might be another term. Like, what's the one where you do this? This is 뜨개질, I think. So you might say like 뜨개질 할 때 쓰는 실, 그 두꺼운 실 is how I would try to describe it without knowing the word. I'd have to check though for the word. You can ask on Discord and I can check with my wife and get you the exact word for it. There probably is some like, maybe they call it like 천실 or something like cotton thread, but I don't know. I'd have to check. I listen to Miss Rachel and other baby shows with Korean subtitles. Does she have Korean subtitles? And it helps learn vocabulary and grammar. Okay. A year ago in Korea, Seoul, a few young people working in a cafe could speak English. I wanted green tea and it was not understood. Also, salted bread was on the menu, was passed over. I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Google Translate. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry, I can't quite understand if that's a question. The Gidzu would be knitting. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I didn't know what it's called. One hook is crochet. If you tell me the word, I'll tell you that it is because I also learned the word for crochet in Korean. I can't remember. Is that shipjasu? That might be shipjasu. I'd have to check. Unless that's like cross. Yeah, that's cross knitting. Shipjasu is something else as well. That might be the other one. Like these are just words I hear because you hear them used and you look them up. You're like, oh, okay. But I've never done it myself, so I'm not sure what is the what. Like which one is doing this and which one's like the different types of them. Korea kids, Korea yarn is sheer. Yeah, that's what I'd have to guess because sheer is just normally any sort of thread, but yarn is also a thread, but it's like cotton. It's like thick cotton thread. So yeah, I don't know. Koban there, yeah, Koban there. You're right because it has the two. It has the dot on the big thick needle. Crochet. Embroidery. Yeah, don't get me into embroidery. Acupuncture. Yes. Chim. Yeah, I don't know the word embroidery. Or I don't know if I might recognize. I might be able to understand it if I read the sentence, but I don't know the word. I started watching Korean with Chadu. Okay, I've never seen it, but I definitely know of the cartoon. There's another one called cross stitch. Maybe that's shipjasu because shipja means cross. So that might be why it's cross stitch. I just know that's another term. There are a couple of these. Mimi learns Korean. Welcome. More and more everyday people are teaching Korean in shorts and reels. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't think you're going to learn much from 10 seconds, no matter what it is. You're not going to learn one word. You're not going to learn a grammar form. You're certainly not going to learn anything complex. I mean, the limit of 10 seconds is going to be seeing a word. So if you watch that video every day for like a week, you probably will memorize one word. But I don't know. I feel like there's a part of Korean learning, like actually learning it, that just simply takes time. There's no shortcut. Even if you're learning it the best way possible, you still need that time to think about it, go to bed, wake up the next day, think about it again to actually learn it. You're not really going to learn stuff the first time you watch it, and certainly not in a short enough time for a reel. I think reels are better for like, just here's some information, have fun with it. Like, did you know? And kind of like for entertainment. I mean, you'll watch like reels about people doing interesting things. Can you recall like how they did those interesting things? Even though you watched the video? No, you just remember, oh, that was interesting. I think it's kind of the same way. So that's why I don't do reels. That's also why I am really bad at the social media game. I don't upload enough stuff. I barely even touch Instagram except for the messaging feature. So, although I will try to do more reels or shorts or something once I start the podcast. I'll try to see if I can edit some clips just for fun, just so people can like, if you don't have time to watch the whole podcast for that. Lexica says, I'm going to start saving up to sponsor a special episode of the podcast all about crafts and textiles. Crafts and tech. I would need to get a guest on. So Lexica, I'm not joking, but if there's a person in Korea who does that, who you like, send me their information. Tell me what you'd like to know. And I would just be like, hey, we've got a guest on to talk about, I think it's this topic. All right, well, let's welcome our guest. And we would just talk, and I would just let them talk. And we can talk about, and then I can research stuff, give like a little lesson about some of the grammar and vocab that we used. Stuff like that, I think is doable. Definitely, though, not the first 3 episodes. Those ones I've already written. I've already planned them. I've selected the guests. I don't know if they're going to join me, but I've picked the guests, so I have to hope that they say yes. If not, I'll have to think of some backups. But yeah, the first three I'm working on, I'll be doing not the same time, but one after the other. Hopefully this month you'll get to see at least the first one. Billy, your new video about people's mistakes. My biggest mistake. I've done a lot. Like, I'm not sure what would be my biggest mistake. One of my personal funniest mistakes, and I think I said this in the video also, is that, yeah, I think I said this in the video, was I was talking with someone just maybe 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. And I accidentally said the word, okay, I was trying to say the word 대본. Oh, wait, before I say this, you want to know how to use ina already before this live stream to mean or, like, or something, like 과일이나, 채소나, like something like that. Because we're not going to be doing this ina today. We're doing an actual intermediate ina. This one's like barely intermediate. It's kind of just beginner level. The ina we're doing today, it works the same way. It looks the exact same, but it's a completely different meaning. It's definitely more difficult than this. But you want to know this first before you really dive into today's lesson. Oh, this red marker is just so hard to erase. I was trying to say the word 대본 means a script. So like a script for filming. So I was talking to the person, I said, I already prepared my 대본. But I don't know why. I was walking, I was distracted, I was looking through the office that we were in. And you know what I said? I did not say 대본. I said this. Like I said, this wasn't that long ago. It was probably 3-4 years ago. I'll say 4 so I look better. It might have been 3. I said 대변. 대변 is, in Korean, there's the word 소변. 소 means small. 변 means relieving yourself. Or it's basically number 1, and 대변 is big. That's number 2. So it's basically saying, yeah, I prepared my number 2 now. I'm all ready to go. I felt extremely embarrassed. I heard myself say it and I corrected it to 대본 right after. I'm like, 대본요, 대본. They didn't care. I don't even think they were paying attention, but they're like, okay, good. They never reacted to it. No, nothing. But it was just like, oh my goodness, why did I say that? Like, how would I do that? I probably made other big mistakes. That the thing is, I wouldn't know if I made a mistake a lot of the times because I was just speaking Korean. Like I did self-study. So unless the person I'm with tells me I made that mistake, I would never know. So I probably did make a lot of mistakes, really embarrassing mistakes, and I just never knew because no one told me, because Koreans are very polite and they're not going to tell you something like that unless they're like your close friend or you said something like extremely embarrassing or extremely funny that they just started laughing. So yeah. I tried learning like a child on YouTube. No success. Yeah, that doesn't work. Do you think the shorts and reels are better for beginners? Nope. I don't think they're better for anyone. I think they're better for free time when you're kind of relaxing, but you're not studying Korean. You already did your Korean study and now you're just kind of relaxing. That's when I feel shorts are good because you're not like spending your study time doing them and they're not going to hurt you and they kind of help keep your motivation up. You're like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. And then you immediately forget after it's finished. But it's still like, entertainment, just like watching a movie. Like you watch a movie, it's fun. Then you go out of the theater and you forget everything you saw and you go about the rest of your day, but you still had a nice time. And then you feel like, oh, that was cool. I want to do another movie. Let's go see another movie next time. Even though you don't remember what the last one was about. That's okay. So I kind of think it's more for that. It's like, it's entertainment. It helps you stay motivated. Occasionally there will be reels where you actually learn something that you could take notes on. But besides that, it's just too short to really like learn more than like maybe one word. Okay. Tekorasoyo. Since it's mine, yes. Learning as an adult means we have the advantage of metacognition and knowing how the brain learns. Yeah. If someone asks me, well, I got to get started with the lesson, but we can go back to this topic. I can talk more about it, about like learning as a child. Okay. We do have a big lesson today. This form is really easy to make. To start, all you do is you take a noun, and if the noun ends with a consonant, you attach na. If the noun ends with a vowel, you just attach na. So, if you're talking about 집, a house, you'd get 집 ina. And if you're talking about 학교, for school, you'd get 학교나. Just for example. That's it. That's all you have to do for using this. So, extremely easy. But then, you might be wondering, why is this an intermediate form if that's all you got to do to use it? Well, there are some quirks to this form. So, first of all, let's talk about what is this form. Well, this form is not the same form that you would use to say or, like 과일이나 채소나, like fruits or vegetables or like that, or something. This is a different form. Let me write down what this form is. Oops. I just rewrite this N too. I didn't write it very nice. This is used after a number or an amount. So this noun here will actually be a number or an amount, some amount of something. And it's used for a number that's more than what the speaker, so more than you thought, or more than you expected. So again, if you put ina after any sort of amount or number, it means that amount was more than you thought. Wow, that's more than I expected. This much is more than I expected. So when you attach it, it adds the meaning, or it adds the feeling, I should say, to your sentence that, hey, that's more than I thought. That is all it does. I'm saying this for a reason. That is all it does. Okay, so if that's what it means, how can we translate this? Well, there's one translation in the title of this video, but I'll give you a few more. You could translate it as no less than, right? Because it's like, let's say it's 3 something. So 3, that's sure more than I expected. No less than 3, or at least 3. Yeah, it's at least 3. And that's, more than I thought. Or as many as 3. Hey, that's more than I expected. So you can translate it these ways if you must translate it as something. But again, it doesn't really need to be translated, because all it is it just expresses that this amount was more than I thought or more than I expected. So think about this for a second in English. If you wanted to say, I ate 3 bananas, normally you would say in Korean, 바나나를, you can say like, 바나나 3개 먹었어요. 3개, 3 bananas. So I ate 3 bananas. But what if you wanted to express like, I ate 3 bananas and 3 is more than I was expecting? How would you say this in English naturally? Think about it for a second. What would you do to express that 3 was more than you were expecting or more than you thought? Normally, you don't eat 3 bananas. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I sit down, I'm going to have one, maybe two. If I'm like starving, you just have one banana, right? But let's say you had three. How would you say you ate 3 bananas, but 3 was more than you expected? What would you do? Really, think about it. What would you say in English? How would you type that out? What would you say? Oh, Lexica, thank you. That's right. It's the 7-minute mark. Hey, Lexica, I made your name bigger than Mikey. I don't know if I can keep this trend up, but I'll start it. Thank you, Lexica. Minute 7's interest in this is more than expected. Okay, I'm gonna look at your comments for a second. Keith says 3. I like that. Keep it going. Is there anything else? Intonation, okay. Nihonium Labs is also saying with a stress on 3. That's one way I would definitely do it. There's some others. And then show the finger amount. Okay, really good. I like that. I would say whole, like I ate 3 whole bananas. Okay, you might want to say like the whole banana, but remember, okay, actually I was going to say something, but then I thought about it for another second. I'm like, you know what? Actually, that would do a really good job of it. Because then it's like, no. It's like, yes, it's 3, right? 3 is way too many. I ate 3 whole bananas. Okay, I ate about 2 too many. All right, you might say too many. 3, I ate 3, more than normal. Oh my God, I ate 3. Mikey, that's a really good way to express it. Marking a pause before saying 3. All of these are great, and all of these are actually correct. Let me see, are there any that are wrong? No, all of these are fine. Again, you don't need to translate this. It just has the feeling of adding that sort of like feeling that something's more than expected. So, when do you say this? When would you say, like, I ate 3 bananas instead of just saying I ate 3 bananas? When would you do it? I mean, obviously, you would do it when you're surprised. Like, wow. You might also do it if you're angry, right? I went to the store and I saw some guy eat 3 bananas and then there were none left. He ate all the bananas at the store. That's really weird. Why would someone eat bananas at the store? Anyway, let me try to think of a different example. Some guy at the library bought 10 copies of the new... Oh my God, what book's popular right now? Can I say Percy Jackson? Do they still do this? The new Percy Jackson book, and now they're all gone. You might say this sort of intonation, you might want to emphasize the number because you're surprised or you're angry or something. But either way, it's used for a large number, right? It's used when that number is really large in order to add emotion, in order to show that something was more than you expected or more than you thought. And in fact, emotion is the key usage of this form. This form is used to add emotion after an amount or a number to show that that number is bigger, its large number, is bigger or more than you expected or more than you thought. So, adding this grammar form is like saying, wow, that's more than I thought. So if you were to say, I ate 3 bananas, it's like saying, with this form, it would be like saying, I ate 3 bananas. Wow. And that's more than I thought I could eat, right? Yes. Using ina or na means that the number is more than you thought. It adds surprise or maybe anger. It's some sort of emotion, just expressing that some amount is bigger than or more than you expected or thought. So then, there's one very important thing you have to keep in mind. I've said all of this, and there's a clue about how you use this form that I haven't said. So there's one more thing you have to know. This form is 100% optional. You do not ever need to add this form. Yes. Let me give you an example. Let's say someone's asking, how many bananas are there? So you wanted to say, 세 개 있어요. There are 3. But what if these are rare bananas? They are golden bananas. So you wanted to express that, well, 3 is way more than I expected there would even be. 세 개나 있어요. 세 개나 있어요. The sentence, 세 개 있어요, has the exact same meaning as 세 개 있어요. 세 개나 있어요. So, 세 개나 있어요 and 세 개 있어요 both have the literal same meaning. There are 3. Na, all it does is adds emotion that you're surprised or angry, whatever emotion. It's just emotion into your sentence. That's all it does. It is 100% optional. You do not have to use it. Your sentence is the exact same whether you add it or not. Okay. But there's one more trick I gotta tell you. There's one more secret thing. If I tell you this, you're gonna be like, oh my God, Billy, that makes perfect sense. How about hotel buffet bananas? Are those like really big? What if I told you? Oh, actually, what if I told you? Do I have to do it in Morpheus voice? What if I told you that there's a similar expression we can use in English to convey this emotion? Would you believe me if there's a word we use in English that has a similar meaning as this? Like, I ate 3 bananas. I ate like 3 bananas. What does like mean? It actually can have several meanings in English, right? It could mean kind of like about, but it also could mean like you're just emphasizing it. I ate like, I'm trying to think of it, right? That's why I'm saying like, hold on, give me a second. Like how many was it? Like, right? It adds emphasis to whatever word you're using it with in English. This has a similar feeling as ina. 세 개 있어요. There are 3. 세 개나 있어요. There are like 3. Now, does this mean approximately or about like? No. Although there is something else we'll talk about in a second. Yes, but no. This just means more emphasis on that word. So I think like is a good way you can translate it if you have to translate it. But keep in mind, as you know, like is more of like a casual expression in English. If you need something more proper, like for an essay or something, I recommend no less than, at least, or as many as, just like I wrote before. Or one more thing you can do is if you don't want to translate it, but you want to add something to your English sentence to convey the feeling, look at the sentence's ending, and no matter what it is, whether it's a question mark or a period or an emoji, slap on an exclamation mark to the end. And you'll also have the same feeling that this form gives. For example, I ate 3 bananas. I ate 3 bananas. Literally, it's the same sentence, right? But the second one with the exclamation shows some sort of surprise. It shows emotion, certainly, right? That could be angry. My doctor said I'm not supposed to eat any bananas, and I ate 3. So hopefully you've got a few ideas. Hopefully you've got a few possible translations now in your toolkit that you can use when you're trying to make better sense of this form. Okay, so now I've fully explained it. You are all masters of this form. But let's do a few example sentences. So here is the first example. But wait, the example's all mixed up and it's not written correctly. Oh no, can you help me unscramble this message? I want to make the sentence, I ate like 3 bananas. How would I say it? I can remember the word banana is banana. Eat is 먹다. And I know counting bananas is done with the counter K, as well as you'll use pure Korean numbers. Like 하나, 둘, 셋. So like 한, 둘, 셋, like that. But I can't make the sentence. Can you help me come up with the sentence? Like square watermelons? Yes. Or 3 friggin' bananas. Keith, that is marvelous. Friggin' works great. Although I will say that ina doesn't have like a casual feeling to it. So which is why I put like in quotes. It's not literally like saying like, but it has the kind of feeling of that. Like doesn't work like that in Canada. Okay. I ate all of 3 bananas. Okay, maybe. Remember, Mikey, it goes after the number, but your sentence is perfect. Just move where you put it. Okay, I don't want to read the other ones out loud because I don't want to spoil it. But yes. I will say though, it doesn't mean more than. Just in case if someone was writing it because they read that, I found more than one blog teaching this form that taught it as meaning more than. It does not. It does not mean more than. All it does is adds emphasis. Yes. Yes. If you're doing this, give yourself a huge pat on the back because, as I said, this is really an intermediate level form because it's not something you need for basic conversation. It's something that you want to add when you want to give your sentence more of a flavor. Like, I really want it to sound like this in this case. I don't want to just say this. I want to say it was like, really, it was that. So it's definitely an intermediate grammar form, at least. If not advanced for the next thing that we're going to learn about this. There's a little bit more to it than this, but this is all that this form is anyway. Okay, banana, banana를 3개나. So notice it attaches after the number. In this case, 3개, so 3. 3 bananas, 3개나 먹었어요. This sentence has the same literal meaning as just saying 바나나를 3개 먹었어요. I ate 3 bananas. The end. This na, all it does is adds emotion to the sentence to show either like surprise or anger or something like that, to express that this number, no matter what it is more than I expected or more than I thought. Like, wow, 3 bananas, that's more than I thought. So instead of just meaning I ate 3 bananas, it's like saying So instead of just saying, I ate 3 bananas, this one has the nuance of saying, like, I ate 3 bananas. Or maybe I ate like 3 bananas. Or, as Keith here in the comments said, I ate like friggin' 3 bananas. Or maybe 3 whole bananas. Bananas? Why is there V there? I ate 3 bananas. Like, you're shocked. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. Like, that's sort of shocked. Okay. 미안해요. 미안해요. I'm sorry. 제가 2시간이나 늦었네요. 2시간 늦었네요. I was late 2 hours. 2시간이나 늦었네요. Ah, I'm sorry. I was late like 2 hours. I was late friggin' 2 hours. However you want to express it. Wow. I was late 2 hours. I am so sorry. It adds emotion. Surprise or anger. In this case, you're really sorry. You're like, I was late like 2 hours. I'm sorry. Like that. 미안해요. 제가 2시간이나 늦었네요. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like that. Scarlett's saying, when typing in Korean, do you use 3 or just say set? Koreans will write the Arabic numbers just like we do. So 1, 2, 3, just the numerals. When you speak, though, obviously they would say 세개 or set, just the number 3. So if you use it but don't actually mean you can't believe it, would that confuse the conversation? It would mean, like, let's say you ate let's say you have 3 bananas every day because you're on a diet. So normally you eat 3 or 4 and you tell your friend, 오늘도 3개나 먹었어요. It still sounds like, man, I ate like 3 bananas today. You know, can you believe it? But you might not say that if that's a normal thing. Again, the meaning of the form is to express like, dang, wow, look at how big this number is. Get a load of this number right here is what it means. So whatever you use it in, it's drawing attention to the number. Someone in the chat a few people in the chat were emphasizing it's like making the number higher pitched or louder or saying it longer. Like, I ate 3 bananas, like that. That's all it does. So what situations do you want to emphasize the number as being bigger than you thought? Wow. I think wow is also just a good way to think of it. Like, I ate like, wow, 3 bananas. So like, kind of say wow in your head. And if that fits, use it. Again, there's a little more to this form, but mostly there's a little more to this form, which is advanced level, but mostly this is pretty much it. Okay. Pen. A pen. Pen 하나에. So 에 here is used to mean per or each or a. And hana is 1 pen. So each pen is 20만 원. 20만 원 would be like 200,000 won. So that would be like $200, a little less, maybe $150, depending on exchange. 20만 원이나 하네요. So is about 10,000 won. So about 200,000 won. And then the ina, again, just adds emotion. Like, wow, they're charging like 200,000 won per pen here. 펜 하나에 20만 원이나 하네요. 펜 하나에 20만 원이나 하네요. It costs like 200,000 won for 1 pen, is what you're saying. They're really expensive. 하다 here is you can think of it as a cost. So similar to the verb 들다, meaning to cost. So it costs like 200,000 won per one pen. Each pen's like 200,000 won. Again, like, you're adding emphasis to the number. You're not just saying each pen is 200,000 won. I have calculated it to be so. But you're like, dang, pens are like 200,000 won here. What's up? Emotion. Just like the, oh gosh, how did I forget the group name? I have to search. Hold on. What was their... Was that Enigma? Yeah, Enigma. Okay. Whew. I thought I forgot. Just like that 80s song by Enigma. Love, emotion, emotion. You know what I'm talking about. That's all this form does. It just adds that emotion to your sentence. Feeling. Okay, next sentence. 철수는. So here's our friend 철수 again. 철수는 그 영화. That movie 10번, 10 times. 10번이나 10 times. Like 10 times. 봤대요. If you don't know this ending teo, it's just said. So you can think of it as 봤어요 if you don't know this form yet. So 철수 says he saw that movie like 10 times. 철수는 그 영화를 10번이나 봤대요. 진짜 10번이나 봤대요. He said he saw it like 10 times. Again, wow! 10 times? 철수 said he saw that movie like 10 times is what it means. How are we on time? I think we're okay. Oh, I'm exactly on time. All right, nice. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I see a familiar name. Someone, oh, where's your message? 가격은 어때요? So dumb. Posting a meme in my live stream. A meme. Okay. Scarlett's asking, what does he do the podcasts on? Oh, no, it's not. We're not going to podcast only form. Podcasts are going to be an extra thing here. Those will have specific topics. These lives have just a grammar topic for the whole thing. Yes. Andrea says, I know that song. That's wonderful. I'm glad at least one person bought that CD that they're advertising on TV every single day at like 2 a.m. Sounds of the 80s. I don't even remember what it was called. It wasn't that. It was like, it had the X-Files theme on it. It had 2 songs by Enigma. It had like a Gregorian chant song. You know what I'm talking about. What was that called? The CD collection that was on commercial for like every day. He has 15 years of lives and their summaries. We will survive as not. No, yeah, it's not. We're not canceling anything. Is this strictly to be used with numbers or can be used for a sentence like, I just bought the biggest building in town? It's only for numbers and counters for the most part. You would use this after the number or the amount that you describe to say how big it is. Like if you bought the biggest building, then you can say like, actually, I have an example sentence just like that in the worksheet. If you get the worksheet for this live stream, which is, you can find it on my Patreon page. I just posted it. It has an example with how many floors a building has. So you can say like, oh man, I bought this like 80-story building which is the biggest building in town. You would use it after 80 stories, which is like, man, I bought this like 80-story building, you know, it's the biggest in the whole city. You could say that. Enya. Oh, Enya is great. Yeah, Enya is classic Enya. Hateo, yes. Although I'm not like, huge Enya fan or anything, but yeah, her music's pretty good. I think she just retired. Like she just made a ton of money and she's like, then she just, dipped. She's gone. Doesn't do anything anymore. Like, okay. She just retired. The last thing I think that she did that was big was just the song from was it the first or the second Lord of the Rings? That was the May It Be one from, I think it was the first one. Yeah, because the second one had the song by Liv Tyler, which was the Smeagol Gollum song or whatever, and the third one was the "What Can You See Above Horizons?" I think it was the first one that was Enya. Yeah. Okay. Okay. 실수로. 실수 is a mistake, so by mistake, 사탕, candy. 사탕을 500봉지. So 500 봉지 is like a bag. 500봉지나 more than I expected. 주문하다 is to order. So I ordered, by mistake, 500 bags of candy. I was only supposed to order, say, 100, but 실수로 사탕을 500봉지나 주문했어요. 실수로 사탕을 500봉지나 주문했어요. So I ordered 500 bags of candy by mistake. By mistake, I ordered like 500 bags of candy. Again, same meaning as if you remove it. You could also say 실수로 사탕을 500봉지 주문했어요. By mistake, I ordered 500 bags of candy. But it just doesn't, I mean, it's correct. It's natural. It's not wrong or anything. But it doesn't have the extra emphasis, doesn't have that extra emotion of like, man, I can't believe it. That's way more than I expected. Now hits. Was it one of those now hits? Oh, yeah. It also had Darude Sandstorm in it, I think. Was it? No. It wasn't Darude Sandstorm. It was another one that was like a trance song on it, I remember. Sail away, sail. Yeah, and I think that song was on there. Enya Sail Away, because that was so popular. Jajongsby, welcome. Is it only used for statements and first-person subject? Or you say, like, you're like 2 hours late? Mafaz, my friend, calm down. Calm down. Sit down. We're going to get there. That's next. That's why this lesson's firmly in the intermediate level. Okay. So, I lied. It's not only used with numbers and amounts. Sometimes it can be used with other nouns. Let me give you an example sentence. But it won't be complicated. It'll be okay. This one's more advanced, though. So, hey, 거긴, short for 거기는. So over there, 여름 is summer and autumn is ice and 녹다 is to melt. 되다 is to become, to be. So in this case, be summer. It has to be summer. 여름이나 돼야. So only when it is summer, 얼음이 녹아요. Does the ice melt? So the ice is only going to melt there when it's summer. This has the same meaning as saying 여름이 돼야. So you could remove it. 거긴 여름이 돼야 얼음이 녹아요. It's only going to melt there. The ice is only going to melt there when it's summer. Adding na here means the ice is only going to melt there when it's like summer. emphasizing not that the amount is more than expected, but in this case, the time of year is more than expected. So it still has the more than expected, or in this case, it's longer than expected. So it's not only for like an amount, like a quantity, but it's also for how long something takes. So you can kind of think of it like time, if that helps. It's not necessarily like a different topic here, but it can be used with like time. Like we had the example, like, oh, 2 hours late. It's kind of like that. Instead of an hour amount, in this case, it's a season. The season's much later. It takes much longer than I expected. 거긴 여름이나 돼야 얼음이 녹아요. You know, over there, it has to be at least summer there for the ice to melt, is what it means. So you might see it used after other words that are not necessarily like a counter. It's the same form because, again, it's emphasizing how long it takes. And I will say this sort of usage is less common. Most of the time when you see this, it's just after a counter. Sail away, sail away, sail away. I used to be able to play one of Enya's songs on the piano. For like, anyway, okay. What about in a question? Because all of the examples I gave you have been just statements like, I did, I heard, they said, it has to be like that. What about a question? Just 해요. Yeah. Okay. 샤워 means shower. 샤워를 하루에. So 하루 is one day. So in a day. 5번, 5 times. 5번이나 해요. So do you shower like 5 times in a day? When you're using this in a question to add emotion, to emphasize that some amount, some number is more than you expected, it's the exact same meaning. It's the exact same thing. You can freely use this in regular statements and questions to have the same meaning. Again, it's not just like, do you shower 5 times in a day? But this is, do you shower 5 times in a day? Do you shower like 5 times a day? Is what it's asking. Same thing. Again, because it's still adding emotion. Anytime you think that the sentence would be okay to add an exclamation mark, you can use ina, whether it's a sentence, like a statement, or if it's a question. So keep that in mind. If you could add an exclamation mark. If you could add an exclamation mark to your sentence and it's still what you want to convey, then you can add ina. It'll be safe, whether it's a question or not. So theoretically, this could also be an exclamation mark. 샤워를 하루에 5번이나 해요? You shower like 5 times a day? This still conveys what you're trying to say, right? So you can do it. You can still use it. The reason I'm saying this is there's another usage of ina that doesn't work. But if you can add an exclamation mark and it still has your same meaning overall, it still shows surprise or anger, it shows any emotion, then you're good to go. One more sentence like this. Okay. why 손님, guest. 왜 손님을 50명이나 초대했어요? 초대하다 is to invite. So why did you invite like 50 guests? If it's okay to add an exclamation mark in your head, this is a perfect sentence. It has that emotion. Like, why did you invite like 50 people? Why did you invite like 50 guests here? 왜 손님을 50명이나 초대했어요? Again, you can hear my Korean intonation doesn't really go like 50명이나. We don't do that in English. We don't do that in Korean. Korean doesn't add that sort of intonation to add emphasis to words, at least not in the same way that we do in English. In English, we'd say, you invited like 50 guests? But in Korean, you don't do 50명이나. You don't do that. So the only way to add emphasis to your sentence in Korean is to do it with grammar. 왜 손님을 50명이나 초대했어요? Why'd you invite like 50 guests? Again, it's optional. You could have just said 50명을 초대했어요, like that. Why'd you invite 50 people? But now you have 이나, so it adds that emotion. In this case, surprise, probably, but it could be anger. Like, we only have 10 chairs. Why'd you invite like 50 guests? Like that. Again, if you can add an exclamation mark and it still matches, it's still okay, then you can use this in a question. Otherwise, if you cannot add an exclamation mark to the end, let me say that again. Otherwise, if you can't add an exclamation mark, like adding it would change your sentence significantly or sound weird, then you cannot use this form to add emphasis to a number. This form only adds emphasis when it's used to give emotion to a sentence. So it only adds emotion when you want it to add emotion. If you use this and your sentence does not have extra emotion, you're not showing surprise, you don't mean to show that you're shocked or angry or that a number or an amount is more than you thought, then this form ina used in a question has a different meaning entirely. Let me give you an example. 친구를 몇 명. 몇 means how many. 명 is just the counter for a person. 친구를 몇 명이나 만났어? So how many friends? Let's just look at it like this. 친구를 몇 명 만났어? How many friends did you meet? But now we're adding 친구를 몇 명이나 만났어? So when you're asking someone, 친구를 몇 명이나 만났어? How many friends did you meet? This sentence does not, probably will not, mean that you're showing extra emotion. Because all you're asking is, how many friends did you meet? So where could there be emotion? Like, how would this be? I mean, you could make this sentence with emotion. You can say like, how many friends in the world did you meet yesterday? Like, gosh. And you can add some words into it to convey emotion. But just the sentence, how many friends did you meet, doesn't have any extra emotion you can add to the how many. Like, how many friends did you eat? Eat? Like the purple people eater? How many friends did you eat? It just meat kind of sounds awkward. For a very simple sentence, like how many? If you use ina, it has a completely different meaning. In questions, simple questions that are not expressing emotion, that are not showing surprise or anger or anything, they are purely questions, straightforward questions. This means 좀, and 좀 means about or approximately. Just like in English. Kind of funny, huh? I wonder if Korean is secretly related to modern English. I should start a Wikipedia page about that. So, if it's a straightforward sentence that does not show emotion, ina only means about. So this sentence doesn't mean you met how many friends like that. It could if you were to add emotion into the sentence, like add other words that made it possibly be emotion. If you didn't mean to ask this with an exclamation mark, it would not mean that. It only means about or approximately. Now, if you were to yell this and there's some context where you're asking, how many friends in the world did you meet? Then it wouldn't mean dim. It would mean the regular meaning that we saw. But because this is just a straightforward question, how many friends did you meet? It just means about how many friends did you meet? 친구를 몇 명이나 만났어? Hey, about how many friends did you meet? Or like how many friends did you meet? If we want to use the like translation again here. Like how many friends did you meet? About how many friends did you meet? One more example. 이번에는, so this time, 는 is just for emphasis, like this time, instead of last time, this time, this semester, 수업 is classes, 몇 개. So how many classes? 들다 is to take classes. 수업을 몇 개나 들어요? So, oh sorry, not 들다, 듣다. 수업을 몇 개나 들어요? So how many classes? About how many classes are you taking this semester? So this time, about how many classes are you going to take? 이번에는 수업을 몇 개나 들어요? Again, there is no exclamation feeling here. You would not ask your friend like, how many classes are you going to take this year? My God, you've taken so many classes. You don't mean that, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. Unless your friend's saying they're taking 1,000 classes. You wouldn't say that. All you're saying is just, hey, so like how many classes are you taking this semester, right? It only means about or approximately when it's used in a straightforward, pure question. No emotion. It just means about or approximately. Did you notice something though? There is a word that's in both this sentence and the previous example that I gave you. That might be a little clue. Lady Natbook says, Billy, your handwriting looks good today. That's funny. I don't think my handwriting's that great. Okay. Did you notice any of the word? Did you notice the word? There's a word that's appeared in both of these sentences. That's a clue. He says 는. Okay. Technically a marker. There's a word though. Jongsby got it first. 몇 appears in both of these example sentences. That's interesting, Billy. Why would that be? Because 몇 literally means how many. How many, and then it goes before a counter. So like before we had 몇 명, how many people? You can have 몇 개, how many? Does that mean that when 몇 appears in a question with ina, that it probably just means this? It probably just means about. Yes. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, almost always, if you see 몇 and ina or na in a sentence and it's a question, it just means about. That's all. So this is kind of a little trick that if you're not sure which meaning it is, if you see 몇, it most likely means that it's just being used to say about. There's a few little exceptions, but generally. Now, you can still have sentences that have 몇, but they're used with emotion, but that's not going to be as common. If there is, you would know right away that it's being used to say to express emotion. Like if it's like if they add the word tete or like 도대체. 도대체 or teche is like in the world. So like what in the world? Who in the world? How in the world? Like that sort of in the world. Teche is just for emphasis. If you ever see a sentence with this in it, automatically you know it's an emotion sentence. So ina would always mean that it's like expressing wow, shock or surprise or something. If you're quoting someone, like you said you did this, then it doesn't matter if there's 몇 in it, it's still emotion. But most of the time, if you see 몇 in a question and it has na, it probably just means about or approximately. Hold on, I see a donation. Oh, a new person. I haven't seen this person talk before. Hey, Sigominko, or at least I haven't seen you in a while if you've been here before. Sigominko, thank you. I'm going to try to write your name bigger than Lexica. Kind of. It's kind of the same. I didn't have room. Sorry. Billy, I made it to from New Jersey to Korea. I thought you're like, I finally got to New Jersey. Like, congratulations, I guess. No, from New Jersey to Korea for 3 weeks in September. How was the weather? It probably was pretty hot. Had a great time. Thanks for all your cheat sheets, books, videos, and classes. They helped a lot. Oh, thank you. Glad that they could help. Okay. So, we're not done though. Oh great! I should have erased this before I wrote your name though, because then I'm like trying to erase around it now. So yeah, most of the time, if you see 몇, it could be this form, but again, the easiest way though I think to tell what it means is there any emotion in the sentence? Like, is it conveying surprise or anger or something? If so, then ina probably just means, wow, that's more than I thought. And if there's no emotion in the question at all, then it just means about or approximately. But that sort of usage is less common. Okay, that is most of the lesson today. I have a few more notes though I want to share. The first one is this form is completely different than irado. So irado is another particle that you'll attach after noun, and it translates as at least. But irado, I did a separate live stream about this just earlier this year, actually. So watch that live stream if you want to learn more. But basically, irado is only used to say at least when the speaker's trying to choose among multiple options, and they're not choosing what they wanted the most. They're just choosing something else among their options. Like, well, at least let's go get that. Or at least we can watch this movie. Or at least I'll eat pizza. You know, I don't have anything at home, but at least I can eat that. Irado has that meaning. So it's not related to ina. But it can also translate as at least. And ina can translate sometimes as at least. So keep that in mind. But yeah, if you want to learn more about irado and how it's different from ina, which means or, check out this live stream from August 22nd from this year. One more thing. Okay. This is for those of you who want to geek out for a bit. So if this is confusing, don't worry about it. You can just la da da di da and ignore me, and then come and then hang out for the Q&A afterward. Do you know the word 얼마? So if you don't know this, then this is definitely above your level. 얼마 means how much. You can use 얼마 to say, how much was it? Or, 얼마예요? How much is it? When you go to the store. 이거 얼마예요? How much is it? There's another word though. 얼마나, how much. 얼마나 originally comes from 얼마, duh, and this ina that we've been learning today. Ooh. So it means how much, and then na. Now, we learned that na has two uses technically, right? The first one is to show surprise, like you're surprised it's that much, it's more than I thought. It's how much? Like that. But na also had another use we learned, and it means about. So this could mean how much, like that much, 얼마나 좋아. It's so good, right? Or it could also mean about how much. 얼마나 걸려요? About how long does it take? Literally, like how much time does it take? So 얼마나 originally comes from this particle ina, specifically, plus 얼마. Let me give you an example. Again, if this is flying over your head, this is like for the nerds who already knew this. I'm sure there's going to be like two people who are like, thanks, Billy. I always wanted to know that. And everyone else is just like, what the hell was that just now? Okay. You technically can say 얼마 in this sentence as well. 거기, there, over there. 가는데. So going over there, and this 는데 is the same as 는데에. So in order to go there, literally, and this is commonly how you would say how long it takes to go somewhere. Like 거기 가는데 1시간 걸려요, for example. It takes an hour to go there. In this case, 거기 가는데 얼마나 걸렸어요? How long did it take to go there? 얼마나, how long? Literally though, you could say 얼마 걸렸어요. How long did it take? But usually when you're asking someone a question about like how many or how long or something, you're not asking for like the exact amount. Like how long did it take to get there? How many hours? How many minutes was it? Like that. How many megs of RAM, Carmine? You're saying about how long. 얼마나. So about how long did it take to go there? 거기 가는데 얼마나 걸렸어요? So this is just something to kind of like think about, just that 얼마나 also comes from here. Okay. And that is the whole lesson for today. Let me take a thumbnail image really quick. Maybe that? I don't know, this is really stupid. Yeah, I got to do this. I would say I'm playing the YouTube game, but really, I don't think anyone wants to click on that if they see it. But that's what I want. I want the true learners, only the true Korean learners, who will suffer through my garbage. They're like, oh, God damn it, Billy, again. Okay, fine. I need to learn this topic. Okay, so Becky's like, do you have a PhD in linguistics? No, I don't have a PhD. They never gave me one. When you say 얼마나 in the store, you aren't saying, no, you don't say 얼마나 in the store, you say 얼마. That's why, because when you ask how much, actually that's another point, is when you're asking someone how much it is, you're not saying 얼마나예요, because that's like, about how much is this? It's between 200 and 301. Which would you like to give me? No, 얼마예요, how much is it, right? You're literally asking how many cents is it? But when you ask someone how long did it take, you're not like, how long did it take? Tell me so I can plan to get gas. Like, you're asking about how long. And when you're asking the price, you're literally asking how much. So that's why you won't see 얼마나. Like, you're not going to ask someone 얼마나예요 at the store. That would just be wrong. Do you know the origins of writing names in red being a bad omen? I believe that's due to writing names in red for... It's like an obituary type of thing where they'd write people's names that had passed away in red. But I don't exactly know where that started. I just know that it has to do with that. Because red is not a bad thing historically in Korea. It's more of a modern thing, I think. So amazing. That's it. Yeah, that's the other Ina. Claire says I need new nerd tape on my glasses. Yeah. This episode was actually sponsored by Nerd Tape. When you're taping up your glasses after getting beat up in the bathroom, Nerd Tape will be there for you. Use Nerd Tape and get 10% off with my code GOBILLY and free shipping. I gotta search though if there actually is a Nerd Tape website. 수업을 1시간이나 한 시간. Oh, okay, I see what you're taking. Yeah. 걸리다. You want to say 걸리다, like it took. Or 1시간 안에, like within an hour. 1시간이나 안에 대단해요. Yves Lafitte says it's the end of the stream. Yeah. I know the time changed. Although technically if you were waiting for the time change, you would have been here an hour earlier since the time went later. But yeah, so the time's now different because daylight savings time ended. I get beat up so much since learning Korean. Yeah. Hey, punk. Tell me some of those Korean words. Ha ha ha. Push you into the closet. Push you into the locker. 얼마 동안. Yes. Go Nerd Tape. Yes. Nerd Tape. For all your nerd needs. Glasses sold separately. You get your pocket protectors. You get your multicolored pens. Slide rulers. Calculators. They have a lisp clip, so like you can give yourself a lisp. If you don't have one, it helps. The nerds, they don't take you seriously unless you've got the lisp. They're not going to bring you into their club. Lexica, thank you. Lexica says, Minute 7 is a diehard nerd who stays to the win and uses nerd wax. Nerd wax to keep my glasses from sliding down. Really? Is that a thing? Wax on your nose to keep them from sliding down? I mean, I could see a benefit though to putting something on your nose because the glasses will leave that mark. And I guess if you had them like lubricated there or something, maybe they won't like push down so hard, or you won't have to push them down so hard to get them to stay. Lexica, I know you already donated, but I'm gonna get. There we go. There we go. And they're only gonna get bigger. I'll stay around for like 20 minutes. I'll stay around till like 3:30. So any questions, now is a good time. Billy, do you think the old Korean was hard to learn? The amount of patsim the old Hangul had. Actually, yes. I think that Korean would have been more difficult to learn in the past due to writing. But not because of writing solely, but because they used to use the politeness they used to use more of the politeness levels than we do today. Today you really only have to worry about like 3. Technically there are 7, but you really only need to worry about 3. You're not going to be hearing the other ones, except for 2 of them you can hear from older generations sometimes. But anyway, yeah, the Korean writing wasn't so standardized. It was pretty much just write it how you thought it sounded like, and you're good. Whereas nowadays there's like spelling rules, spacing rules, and everything. So it's really standard. So everyone's going to write mostly the same. Whereas at the time it was just, however they wanted to write it pretty much. Put it on the nose pads and they slip less. Huh, okay. Wes said, did you and your family dress up for Halloween? Has it been a holiday for Korea a long time as well? I do, but not really normally. Otherwise, my kid does. Korea Halloween until about less than 10 years ago, it's really recent, was only a holiday for children who would attend English Academy. So there was no Halloween, but if you were a child who attended an English language school, like your preschool or whatever, then you would have a Halloween event once a year with your teacher, and then they would do trick-or-treating in the academy. That's pretty much it. There is no trick or treating though in Korea. Like you're not going to go to someone's house and knock on the door and ask for candy. You're not going to, egg their house if they don't give you candy. There's nothing like that. And then about less than 10 years ago, it started to become for adults a day where you would dress up in Halloween in like an outfit. And it was more like a club, like going clubbing, going to bars, meeting friends, drinking, hanging out, like that sort of holiday. Not like you would do in the US usually. But yeah, so it becomes kind of like an adult holiday for where you dress up, you wear whatever costume you want to wear, and then you would go clubbing or drinking or whatever with your friends. So that's kind of like the Halloween of today. Oh, hey, Raymond. Raymond. See, how can we get bigger here? Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay, there's like no... I have to be careful. As a resident of Toronto, it pains me to donate on this day. Thanks for the lesson. Oh, wasn't it like was that who the Dodgers were playing? I'm sorry, I wasn't following at all. I only know that it ended, but I don't know who was playing. Oh, hold on, I think Raymond broke my board. I think you've done that before too, Raymond. Let me turn off my board. There we go. Was that who the Dodgers were playing? I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Is this a new thing where they just get progressively bigger? I think so. If I donate 1,000, is Jongsby just going to take up the entire... If you donate 1,000, it's going to have to go onto my face. That there's nowhere else it can go. I shouldn't have egged that house. Yeah, Korea, though, doesn't have like a Halloween culture like we do. They don't even have a Christmas culture. Like, all the holidays are different. I'm trying to think if there's any holiday that you could expect how to celebrate it. No, they're all different. Christmas doesn't exist either. I mean, you do have Christmas, but it's also something where it's like little kids will get presents from Santa Claus, and then that's it. And then when they get older, it just disappears. Adults will not do like, all the family things like activities or whatever. It's just, you can get a gift for someone if you want. Like, if it's usually more of like a couple's holiday. I'd say the best way to compare for Christmas in Korea is Christmas decorations at every major place. So you'll see like Christmas trees and, Christmas ornaments and stuff at the big malls in Korea. But it's basically Valentine's Day. That's when Korea has what we know as Valentine's Day is Christmas. So that's like couples hang out, couples go out to eat, couples get each other gifts, or they'll get each other chocolate or whatever like that. They'll go walking and check out Christmas lights. That's all. That's what you do for Christmas. But it's not like Christmas Carol, give gifts to people, do what's that? Secret Santa. I almost said Super Santa. Secret Santa or anything like, there's nothing like that. And then again, Santa Claus, that's only just for kids. Small market Dodgers team defeats the whole nation of Canada. Yeah, I didn't know who they're playing. I just heard that they won. I'm like, okay. And I heard they won because there's like fireworks going off as soon as they won. Maybe the January New Year would be a little similar with the countdown and such. Yeah, I actually don't know about what they do for that. If they do like New Year's parties, because I've never been to one. I assume they would at like bars, like some clubs would do New Year's parties in Korea. Like in some of the popular areas like Hongdae or Itaewon or those types of places would probably do New Year's parties with lots of foreigners who are visiting. And Koreans would go to that too. But I don't think there's like a separate Korean tradition of counting down and stuff like that. But I've never done that before, so I don't know. Maybe there is. I just haven't seen one. But yeah, it's like I said, the closest parallel is their Christmas is like our Valentine's Day. Thanksgiving and Chuseok. So yeah, that's also completely different. Chuseok is the Korean Thanksgiving, but it's solely family. It's only your direct family. It's not so much about being thankful for what we have. It's more like, let's all meet together as a family and eat sort of thing. it's not like in the US. I know in Thanksgiving in the US, if you don't have like a place to go, if you're just like a student or whatever, you can always get invited to your friends' houses to hang out. People will invite their neighbors. They'll invite, the guy they meet at the grocery store. Anyone can go to Thanksgiving. It's just more of a community event thing. Korea doesn't do that. I've never been invited to a Chuseok event in my entire life. But it's, yeah, so I wouldn't compare them really, other than they both eat food on that day. Yeah. And then, yeah, there are people also in the US as well where Thanksgiving's really just a family day. They'll do like, maybe they'll play football in the morning, turkey bowl or whatever. You'll sleep in, you'll eat at like lunchtime, and then you'll make chicken or turkey sandwiches the next morning, right? Like that sort of thing. I think Korea gets influenced by America, also Mela said. Yeah, I mean, every country is influenced by other countries, but I think the US, with it just being so big, we have like all the, TV shows, movies, and all this entertainment and stuff like that. Yeah, it does influence other countries as well. Vietnamese are not into gifts either. Yeah, Koreans do gifts, but like I said, it's not like you're not gonna for Christmas, you're not gonna like gather around the tree as a family and all give each other gifts and stuff like that. That's not really a thing. It's you would do that for your little kid, and then as soon as they know about Santa Claus, then you wouldn't do it anymore. Then they just get money for Christmas. Do married people go to their own parents' homes for Chuseok, or do they go as a couple to one or both? Their own parents' home for Chuseok. Oh, I see what you mean. No, you would go together. You would be like a unit after that. When does podcast episode 1? Wes, check out the post I made on Patreon. Again, I say everything in the post. What it's about, when it's coming out, I didn't say when I'm filming it. I did say I'm filming it soon though. But yeah, should be sometime this month. For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I have an upcoming podcast I've been working on for, gosh, since the end of August. No, since middle of August, I think. Because I made a poll asking on Patreon, like, what should my next project be? And most people requested a podcast. And people have been asking me to make a podcast, I don't know, forever. Like, at least since before COVID, people have been saying, when are you going to do a podcast? And I planned it a long time ago. I wrote, like, what things I would want in a podcast, and then just realized it's too much work. It would cost too much money. But this time I did a fundraiser for it because I thought, you know what? If you want a podcast, help me pay for it because it's expensive. All the stuff I would need to do it. And you did. You came through. So we got enough to make a set. I'm looking at the 100% complete set right here. If you watch the Patreon post, you can see it. It looks really cool. I have the first few episodes ready. So hopefully. Oh, and that'll go up on Patreon first also. So if you want to see, or I shouldn't say see, if you want to see the podcast, you'd have to be one of the early supporters for that. But you'll get to listen to the podcast early before it goes on YouTube or anywhere else. So yeah, Patreon's the best way to keep up with that. And it'll be consistently uploaded there first before it goes anywhere else. Becky is saying there will not be a live lesson anymore. Why is that? It's a podcast unrelated to the lives. Do you have to be a member to go on Patreon? No, actually, you can join for free. The free Patreon members do still get stuff. You get to get the like the cheat sheets. Those are all free. The really basic. Oh wait, did I make that? I think I did. Yeah. The generic updates about the Patreon, which just have like an image and some text. Those ones are also free, so you don't have to join for that. If you do join, it really helps me. You also get all of the live stream outlines and worksheets for every single live stream I've ever done. You can download those. You get higher quality versions of the cheat sheets if you wanted to print them. You can get, I also have a free Korean notebook, which you also don't have to pay for either. That's in the free tier. But there's a lot of stuff you get in the paid tiers as well. If you join the $5 paid tier, you also get my Anki deck, which is my vocab deck of like 7,000 or something words. You can get early PDF lessons for my Learn Korean series. There's a bunch of little benefits you get as well. But yeah, if you can, it helps. If not, you still get some cool stuff on there for free. How to become a popular Korean teacher idol. Oh God. Well, you have to get scouted. It starts with having a specific type of appearance where you can't sing, you can't dance, and you kind of don't really look that attractive either. And then you get scouted and they're like, young man, I see you have no skills, but you speak Korean. How about becoming a teacher? And then you do extreme training. For me, it was about over 20 years since 2005. You do extreme training. You live stream, you got to present a good image to your fans. You got to do lots of performances. And then when you finally someday, they'll let you debut as a Korean teacher. It's a really curated, professional process. It takes a lot of time and effort, but I think it's worth it. It's not for everyone. You need some imitation talent though. Yes. Some talent. You need to have some sort of talent that you can show off to your fans. Like for me, it's imitating other voices occasionally. You've got nothing of what it takes. Welcome aboard. Yeah. It's the JYP talent comes up to you and leaves. And after he leaves, that's when the Korean teacher talent comes up to you and is like, you. Yes, as you said, you've got nothing of what it takes. Come on, I'll help you. So yeah, that's how it works. Surprisingly though, I know multiple people who have been scouted for doing like K-pop, for being in groups. Multiple people. It's not that uncommon. Despite how uncommon it seems, like, wow, you got to be like super crazy lucky or crazy super attractive or super talented. No, because they scout people who are young typically, right? If it's someone who is, they seem like they can sing a little bit, they seem like they can dance a little bit, or maybe neither. Maybe they seem like they have a cool personality or whatever the scout who's scouting them out feels. They start you early enough and they train you so that maybe you can't sing very well, but you get training and now you can sing. And maybe you can't dance that well, but you get training. You do it every day for 2-3 years. Now you can dance. And then they'll try to put you in a group together. They'll say, oh, I like that person and that person. I think they have good chemistry. Let's put them in a group together. And then they create the group unit and then you debut as your group. I know multiple people who've gotten scouted and then told them no. So that's why I know multiple people. If they had said yes, I probably wouldn't have met them. They would be celebrities, but they're like, no, for different reasons, they'd said no. So it's not super rare. Like Charsu, you're talking about my editor. And the way it works is literally they just come up to you and they give you their business card and they ask you if you have an agency. They'll ask about you and see if you want to do either modeling or if you wanted to do singing or performing or whatever it is that they're hiring for. And a lot of times they hire starting for models anyway. They'll hire you for like modeling and then you'll be one of the members of their agency. And then in their agency, they can find people who are like, oh, this person's also really good at singing. Oh, we want to get them, as a singer or whatever like that. Like that's if you ever look up K-pop celebrities history before they join the group, it'll always be something like, oh, worked as a model or was part of this training unit or was part of this TV program or whatever like that. And that's just what it is. That's how it works. So you might be hired at the agency from when you're 14 years old after you go to an audition. They call you back. They're like, oh yeah, hey, we want you on the company. You seem like you'd be a good fit. You're like 14, now you're hired and you're working doing like clothes modeling for whatever, or doing TV advertising or whatever they want. And then you do training with them, you do dance training and you all live together with the other people who are doing training. And then they'll say, hey, we're going to do, we're going to do another boy group. We're going to do another girl group or whatever. So Billy was a model. No, I've never done modeling before. I have done, I could tell you something, but I can't tell you something. I have been in a, can I say this? Let me think about it before I say it. Because it can't dox me. Yeah, I think I could say it. I have been in a famous music video before. That's all I'll say. And I can't say any more, and I can't tell you. That's all I'll say though. But yeah, but other than that, I've never done modeling before. I mean, unless you count like posing for my own thumbnails. I never did singing. I never did any of that sort of stuff. Never did dance training. Billy was a hand model. Yes, a hand. My hands are actually kind of not that nice because I used to bite my fingernails a lot as a kid. So like they're better now, and I don't bite them anymore. I trim them, but they're like not great. And right now my hands have like ink on them from the board. So I don't think I would be a good hand model. Billy is Michael Jackson. Oh, that's my secret. That's silly. Don't tell anyone, okay? Simone. Simone. Billie Jean's name is based on Billy's hat. That's true. That is actually true. Billie Jean is not my lover. MJ dead. 2009. Go Billy launches 2010. Coincidence? Yes. Actually, yeah. Yes. I would say the biggest difference is I'm white. But if you know Michael Jackson, you're like, oh, that doesn't really mean anything. I was like, clearly I can't be, I'm sorry, actually, that's not a good evidence. I retract it. Yes. Welcome. Any other questions? Keith, I'm sorry, I cannot. I'm just leaving you with that. Because it is like seriously like doxing to find out. Although, I mean, it's probably, might be okay. I will say I wasn't credited. But yes, I'm in a very famous music video. Your nose looks completely intact, so that's evidence enough it can't be. Ouch. I'm going to have to watch all my taped MTV shows. Oh God, good luck with that. I should try to throw you off the scent and say it was something by Michael Jackson. There you go. Something by Michael Jackson. You know, the kid in the black and white music video? That was Macaulay Culkin. That was not me. Or was it? Huh? I'll leave you with that. Simone! Simone! You got to watch all your taped inside the music. What was the ones with the no pop? What was the ones with like the bubbles that all came up during on MTV, where they'd have like the music video or something, and then there would be like little bubbles with random trivia about the song. That was always like the dumbest stuff that you never really cared about. Pop 7? Is that Pop 7? It's like pop up video. Okay. Pop up video. Yeah, if only MTV still stood for music television. It would be like, while filming, Madonna said she always drank cranberry juice. It got so bad that her producer told her to stop, and she said, no, I'm going to keep drinking cranberry juice, and swore at all the cast. That's why in this music video, she's wearing a different shirt because she got cranberry juice all over her other shirt. Did you know that cranberry juice is actually 5% juice, 95% water? Who knew? I love like, it would just be like the most useless garbage facts about the music video that are going on in the and like, I don't want to hear that little boom, boom, boom every time it comes up. Just let me watch the music video. Just throw in the music video title in the middle of a sentence in a future episode when no one remembers, and they'll be like, "That's a good idea. It's a good idea. I think I could do that. I think I could do that. Yeah, I could actually do that." Maybe I'll wait like a year though. MTV's closing down? Wow. I would say I'm sad, but I'm not, because they haven't been MTV since the 90s. Since like at least the late 90s. I think that was like the latest I can remember that they still did music. Somewhere in the mid to late 90s. After that, it was just reality TV and other stuff. Yeah. I wanted to know all of it. They also lie with movie and music industry facts to promote the industry. Yeah. I mean, that still goes on today. Anytime you see behind the scenes videos or like leaks, a lot of it is curated on purpose. A lot of it is, legitimate, but a lot of it is also like they push it out on purpose because they want to generate buzz for something. Like, oh, did you know these two actors actually hate each other? Or these two actors are really big fans, or they became best friends during the filming of this movie. Like, a lot of that's not real. Britney Spears used a microphone when recording the song. Oh my God. Oh, baby, baby. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did. The microphone was sold at auction for $10,000. There'll always be like random facts like that. You're like, what? I don't care. Tell me something about like how they made the music video, or like, some behind the scene tricks or something like that. Britney Spears hated cranberries. I can't believe it. Be something always like random that you don't care about. Britney Spears just shouted loudly so we could hear her without her microphone. Yeah, you could say that. Britney Spears actually recorded the whole music video without a microphone. Instead, but because she's so far from the camera, what we hear instead is actually the director doing an impression of her behind camera so that it would be picked up on the microphone. Summer of 1999, just had to open the windows. Random question. In one of your, okay, finally, a Korean question. In one of your beginner videos, you used pizza cake as an example. Oh, never mind. It's not a Korean question. Did you ever experiment with that IRL? No. The reason I used pizza cake as an example is because I didn't want to overwhelm the beginner after they had done all this alphabet stuff and all of this, sound change rules. I didn't want to overwhelm them with like tons of vocabulary words so soon. Like, I wanted to focus on sentences where they don't have to worry about the vocabulary yet. They can just think about the grammar and like what they're doing. So like, here's how to say your name. Here's how to say it is. Here's how to say I want. And let's focus on things they already know. They already know the word pizza. So now let's just teach them pizza and cake. And then I don't want to teach them even a third word. So let's just put those two words together that they already know and say pizza cake. And as a benefit, it'll make it easier to remember, right? That was my thought process, was like, let's not overwhelm them right now. I've already done enough of that with the sound change rules and everything like that. So no, I've never tried a pizza cake. I guess it would be like a Chicago deep dish. I heard they taste pretty good. So yeah, that's probably what it was. I used to watch MTV in the 80s before VH1. Yeah, I did too. I remember watching it. Well, I was born in 86, but I remember watching it. I would have been probably 4 or 5 at my grandmother's house. So that would have been like 89 and 90. I do remember watching MTV on my grandmother's old TV. 99% pizza cake diet in Busan. Thanks to you, pizza cake has haunted me for a while now. Why don't you make a pizza cake? Yeah, that could have been on a pop-up Korean lesson, pizza cake. Actually, if it were a pop-up Korean, it would say something like, during the filming of the beginner course, Billy actually made a pizza cake. After sharing it with his partner, Billy vomited violently all over the floor and said, haha, that was a great pizza cake. As a result, his wife suggested putting it in the course as one of the examples. Billy agreed, and the rest is history. It'll be something like that. It'll be like, that never happened, but that's interesting. It makes you want to watch the next episode. Lasagna is kind of like a pizza cake. Mel, I think you're right. It is a pizza cake. It's lasagna. Yeah, the class I'm doing with the tutor starts a lot with banana, mango, pizza. It would be mango, and pizza. Yeah, that's the reason why we do this, is because you need vocabulary, and we know you need all of this stuff, but like, that's not the important thing. When you learn the word banana and you know how to say like banana 먹고 싶어요, you can easily say like mango or 볶음밥 or bulgogi or anything else, the exact same grammar form. It's not important. Those types of vocabulary words are not important because you're going to learn them just by hearing them all the time and just by seeing them everywhere. You don't have to stress about learning those types of basic words anyway. So in order just to not overwhelm them with having to learn those words, let's keep it simple. There's an eggplant pizza and Bon Appetit, Your Majesty. I'm trying to reproduce the recipe. Eggplant pizza. That would be pretty simple. So what you do, Becky, your challenge is eggplant is wet. So in order to put that on pizza without it getting nasty, like if you just put artichoke on pizza, it just makes it soggy, is you have to roast it first. So chop the eggplant into small pieces, roast it until it's soft but not wet anymore. And then you put it on top of the pizza after, and you bake it once more. So it'll still release some moisture, but not as much. That's what I would do. So I would roast it completely separately. You can roast it if you have a barbecue grill, you can do that. If not, you can just bake it, like put it in a pan, spread it out, put salt on it to kind of help dry it out, suck up the moisture, and then just roast it. That's what I would do. Are you currently only going to focus on intermediate Korean lives, or will you do ones for beginners too? See, when I do beginner lives, people all hound me like, how dare you do a beginner live, Billy? You've already done beginner lives. So I'll be like, okay, I'm sorry. So I'll do an intermediate live, and they'll say, Billy, how dare you? I'm advanced. I want some real advanced material. So I'm like, okay. So I do advanced lives, and then they say, hey, this is too hard for me, Billy. Can you do in a beginner class? Be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I do a beginner class. How dare you, Billy? How dare you teach beginner topics? So I'm joking with you. I do all levels. This week's, most of them I'd say are intermediate advanced, but I've done all the beginning topics already. And if you want to learn a beginning topic, I recommend check out the document I have. I'll actually post that in chat. Check out the Google document that it'll post here that has all of my live classes. More than half are intermediate and advanced, but there's tons of beginner stuff. If you're still a beginner though, I actually would just recommend doing my beginner course first, because that'll take care of like all of the beginner stuff pretty much. Like all of the low beginner and mid beginner and most of the high beginner stuff is in that class. So that's where I'd start. But if you've already done that and you want some more beginner topics, then I would check out the Google document that I shared. Eve Luffy, yes, we have to do a food discussion here too. Keith says the sundae ice cream. Yeah, Jeremy's still traumatized by that. Mimi asks, do you have any tips on how to do well in a listening test? A listening test. So any test related questions, I always say the same thing, and that's to get example test questions from that test, to download sample tests if they have it, previous year's tests, and practice with those. Because tests are really not going to be the most natural Korean. They're designed to test you. They're designed to be tricky. They're not just going to present you with something that you're going to hear every day. They want to present you with the stuff you have to study for to get their test. They don't want someone to walk off the street, take a test, and do really well on it. Oh, no. You can't have that. You got to make sure that they're prepared for your test. So yeah, it's the same goes for TOPIK and any of those. You have to prepare for the actual test to do well on it. Besides the lower levels, which you could just walk in and take if you already spoke Korean. How about 15 minutes of each in one live? I've done that too. Some of the topics I would do how to use it as a beginner, how to use it as an intermediate, and how to use it as an advanced speaker. And this lesson too was kind of like that without beginner stuff, but it was how do you use it regularly, and then how do you use it as an advanced speaker? Because there was a little bit more to it. I usually try to do that. I'll have sections that are, I'll say, here's a beginner part, and oh, this part is actually for intermediate. Have you ever thought about recording listening practice videos? Yes, I have. I've done Korean listening practice interviews. I did about 5 of them last year. They're on the on my channel in the interviews playlist. And there will be listening practice in the upcoming podcast. So stay tuned for that as well. Are the podcasts going to be in English? The first 3 are primarily in English. Once I kind of get my bearings, figure out what we want from it and what people want to watch, it might change a little bit, but it's mostly going to be guided in English with lots of Korean. There will be a section that'll have all Korean with like listening practice. And then there will be interviews, and those will be, depending on the guest, they'll be in English or Korean. I think the first one I have will be in Korean. The second one's in English. The third one's in Korean. So we'll see. But yeah, it's not exclusively in Korean, and it's not only in English. Okay. Any other last questions? Pop-up video. Was that the theme for it? I gotta check. Oh my God, that's it. I just suddenly remembered it. I just suddenly had a flash, like a memory of the sound when it started. I was like, I totally forgot. And then all of a sudden in my head, it's like pop-up video. Boop. Yeah. I didn't watch it that much because I didn't watch MTV very much. My sister watched MTV. 밥이나 빵을 먹자. 라면이나 먹을까? That's a different form. Yes. Mikey says debuting a new podcast outfit. I don't know what you're talking. I wear different clothes every video. This is a completely different shirt. Can't you tell? Like the red is slightly different shade. Sometimes the blue's a little bit darker or lighter. Sometimes I have the hat at like a completely different angle, like this. I almost can't tell it's the same hat. Pop-up was VH1. Oh, okay. Was that VH1 thing? Maybe it was VH1 they were watching then. I know I would watch. MTV was like where you turn on just to watch music, and then they'd have interviews with the musicians as well. But I guess VH1 had pop-up music. Okay. Wes says, what's the difference between 그만해 and 멈춰? 그만하다 is to stop doing something. Literally, 그만 is like stop. That's enough. And 하다, to do. So like stop, like you've done enough. Stop is what it means. 멈추다 means to stop moving somewhere, to stop physically moving. So 멈춰 is like stop moving, stop right there, that sort of meaning. And 그만해 is like stop it, cut it out, knock it off, that sort of meaning. So they have different meanings, but they both can translate as stop. Okay, I think that's good. There is no live stream. Actually, there might be a live stream. I don't know if I'll do one, but there's no live class next Sunday. Since we did one last week, we're doing one this week. No live class coming up this next Sunday, but I will see you the next week. Thank you everyone for coming, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.